The time is the most crucial element of our reality. When the Chachamim got the authority on establishing the calendar, establishing Rosh Chodesh, establishing time, they were empowered to affect reality with the power of Torah. And now we understand why it is the first mitzvah in the Torah. Because Hashem is stating, I am giving you partnership. In Motzei Rosh Chodesh Nissan, I want to share with you some thoughts about the special time that we are in, Rosh Chodesh Nissan, and more than that. Some points are very crucial points that I actually heard from a shiur of Rabbi Shneur Ashkenazi from Eretz HaKodesh. And to that we'll add some points. Tonight is also Beis Nissan, which brings us to the Rebbe Rashab. Tomorrow morning we have Samach Vav shiur. We'll say more about it, but there's a famous sikha that I want to bring, just the point of it, from Achron Shel Pesach, now that we're approaching Pesach, from the Rebbe, talking about the Rebbe Rashab Bechlal is the crucial step. His Hasidus is a crucial step in the final stage of the unfolding of the Geula, and especially Hemshech Samach Vav. So we'll talk about that as much as time will allow, and Koyach and so on. This special day today of Rosh Chodesh Nissan, that not about the fact that it was crowned, the Chazal say that it was crowned with 10 crowns, but that you can find in sources, Sefer HaToda'ah, and all over. And I want to bring few other points that are very crucial to Yiddishkeit Bechlal, to our Avodas Hashem. One of them, beginning with the fact that we are very unusual nation in comparison to the other nations. And that is that we are operating based on 2 calendars, at least. If you add the secular, the non-Jewish calendar, you have 3. But otherwise we have 2 calendars. The first calendar, the first cycle that was kept by the Avos was actually a solar cycle. A yearly cycle that is based on Mahalach HaShemesh, on the cycle of the sun, dividing the year to the different seasons and so on. And that's the Luach HaShanah, this the cycle that all our forefathers kept. In
is that different?
To that, 2 weeks before Pesach, Hashem is approaching Moshe Rabbeinu and telling him, well, there is another calendar that you need to get used to. And that is 2 weeks before Yetzias Mitzrayim. HaChodesh hazeh lachem Rosh Chodashim hu Rishon lechodshei Hashana. So now we have another cycle, the lunar cycle, that is the cycle of the month. It's not the yearly cycle, that is the solar cycle, rather it's the lunar cycle, that is the cycle of the 12 months of the year. And that follows the moon. So the Jewish year begins Tishrei and ends Elul, and the Jewish months begin Nissan and end Adar. Now, this cycle of months was only given to us. HaChodesh hazeh lachem Rosh Chodashim. Oh, how come the non-Jewish year is divided to months as well? It's done arbitrarily, as said. Actually, the Roman, it is corresponding because they realize that the moon is making more or less 12 cycles of decreasing and increasing a year, so they also divided to 12. The Romans had 10 months of the year. So the solar cycle doesn't have months. It's a yearly cycle. It's not divided to months. Bnei Adam, people divided it arbitrarily to make it easier for them to divide the year to smaller chunks. However, Yidden in Yiddishkeit, we got החודש הזה לכם, not לאומות העולם, but לכם, ראש חודשים, ראשון הוא לחודשי השנה. So we have a lunar cycle, which is like we are walking around with two different clocks. And you ask, what time is it? Well, it depends. Which clock you want? The New York clock or Israel clock? Which one? So we have lunar, solar, lunar, which one? We actually have to combine both. But the fact that we have another calendar that is based on months creates a new metzius, a new reality. And by the way, I just want to mention here that it's interesting that in the Torah, none of the Jewish months has a name. The names came up from Babel, which for another discussion. And Take Chazal found all kinds of hints in the Babylonian names that Yidden elevated, brought with them and elevated from Babel, like Nissan has two nuns, and we'll talk about it. The Rebbe said that it represents Nisei, Nisim, and so on. But in the Torah, the months are not called by any names. They are numbered. The first month from Yetzias Mitzrayim, that's Nissan. The second month, Iyar is the second month. And Sivan, the month of Matan Torah, is the third, and so on. It's also a cardinal directive that makes sure that in our consciousness we always remember Yetzias Mitzrayim, because the months are counted from Yetzias Mitzrayim. So we have to have our in mind consciously all the time Yetzias Mitzrayim. So the first month from Yetzias Mitzrayim, the second month from Yetzias Mitzrayim, until Adar, which is the 12th month from Yetzias Mitzrayim. Interestingly also, we have the same thing with the days of the week. They don't have names, like Sunday or Monday or Tuesday. They are numbered. Rishon b'Shabbos, Sheni b'Shabbos, Shlishi b'Shabbos, because we are constantly remember Shabbos and bringing and extending the consciousness and the light of Shabbos into the week. That's part of our divine service. So the question is, why this? Obviously, we will see that these two cycles represent two aspects of Avodas Hashem. The Shemesh is the Elokus that is reflected in the constancy, in the fact that Teva is really Nitzchi, we'll see soon. And the inyan of the Yareach, the lunar cycle, represents innovation, chidush, and beginning anew, and breaking through that which repeats itself and reaching new heights, and so on. But the question is, why is it the first mitzvah in the Torah? It's the first mitzvah that was given to us as a nation. In the Rambam, the mitzvah of lechashev et hamolad, to calculate the birth of the moon of Rosh Chodesh, is mitzvah kuf nun gimel, 153rd mitzvah in Cheshbon HaMitzvahs. So why here, right before Pesach, before the Horah of the Torah, the instruction to prepare the Korban Pesach, the Torah brings the inyan of the Chidush HaYareach, of the Chodesh that is based on the new moon. The Kli Yakar answer is a very logical answer. And it says, Ma pitom, it shows up here before Pesach Davka, and between Yetzias Mitzrayim and Pesach, because it is a necessary hachana, preparation for Yamim Tovim, because the Torah is going to instruct us to celebrate the different Yamim Tovim, hachel with Pesach, beginning with Pesach, and in order to know when to celebrate Yom Tov, you have to know when is Rosh Chodesh. So then you know, according to that, what day of the Chodesh it will be. Hasidus explains that it's way, way, way deeper than that. Not that it's, of course, this is a good logical reason that is very acceptable on the mind, logically. But why is it the first? So one explanation is that this is the first mitzvah because Hashem is making a huge statement here. He is making a statement that human beings, led by Chachmei HaTorah, the scholars of the Torah, not only were given wisdom when Torah was given to us, human beings, through the leaders of Chachmei HaTorah, got partnership and control over the metzius of the world. For instance, when Hashem gave over to the Chachamim that it is in their authority to establish and to sanctify the Rosh Chodesh, when it is exactly, based on edus, on testimony of witnesses and so on, and now we have a pre-calculated calendar. Really, when Hashem gave that power to the Chachamim, Hashem gave them power over himself. How so? If the Chachamim are establishing when is Rosh Chodesh Tishrei, for instance, when is Rosh Hashanah, when is Aleph Tishrei, according to when is the Rosh Chodesh, when is the new Moilad, Halevana. That means that the Chachamim decide when HaKadosh Baruch Hu sits on Kisei Hadin, on the throne of judgment. And they decide when HaKadosh Baruch Hu will sit on the throne of forgiveness and Rachamim on Yom Kippur. Chachamim decide when Hashem will judge the Jewish people. And we know beyond that, I don't know if beyond that, but part of that is that time is the most crucial element of our reality. Time and space, time even more than space. Not now is the time to discuss it. And that means that when the Chachamim got the authority on establishing the calendar, establishing Rosh Chodesh, establishing time, they were empowered to affect reality with the power of Torah. And now we understand why it is the first mitzvah in the Torah. Because Hashem is stating, I am giving you partnership in how this world is going to be conducted. Yes, I created it, and I am mashgiach, I am overseeing it, and so on, but you are partners with me. That's number one. Soon we will get to the meaning, the personal and spiritual and the psychological meaning of all this. But few points to bring out why is it the first mitzvah is given to us as a nation. There is a message, a huge message here. And this is today, Rosh Chodesh Nissan. In addition to all the things that we know, that the Shechina came down and the Mishkan, which is very also important correlation between the two. The Rebbe makes this point. But I want to bring another point that is really an amazing point by that. That if you just read Torah shebichsav, when Torah tells you, החודש הזה לכם, ראש חודשים הוא ראשון לחודשי השנה. This month is a Rosh Chodesh, this day, this is the Rosh Chodesh. It's the first of the month of the year, and this will be the first one, and you have to sanctify it. You have no idea what to do. What does it mean, החודש הזה לכם? Which Chodesh? Torah doesn't say which. How do you know from reading the Pasuk which Chodesh you're talking about? That is the first Chodesh. How do you know it's Nissan? Not from the Pasuk, it doesn't say. Number two, how long is a Chodesh? How many days? It doesn't say. How many months are in a year? It doesn't say. הראשון to חודשי השנה. How many חודשים בשנה? Nothing is said. How is it that a lawmaker will establish a law that will be so vague? A law that is meant to guide people practically how to lead their life. begashmius, and how to serve him. How did he establish a law that is so vague? And any lawmaker, when they establish a law, the law will have many details and subjects and a lot of detailed descriptions how the law needs to be implemented. Here, nothing. Not when is the Rosh Chodesh, how many days of the month, how many months of the year, nothing. The Kuzari and Ibn Ezra are dealing with it. The Kuzari was written by, established, it looks like Rabbi Yehuda Halevi, as a conversation between a Jewish scholar and the king of Kuzar that eventually converted, together with his whole tribe. But it's basically a discussion about Jewish principles and the Jewish philosophy and Jewish religion. So this secret is in this first mitzvah of the Torah. What is the principle here? Hashem is telling us, well, when you learn Torah, you will have to learn Torah with two fingers. One finger should be on Torah shebichsav, and one finger should be on Torah shebal peh. Because Torah shebichsav alone you can't understand by yourself what it means. Because Torah shebichsav, the written Torah, are divine principles, divine codes that are meant to be interpreted according to divine laws by the Jewish scholars. Again, you have from the onset of Torah, from the first mitzvah, the first directive that is given to the Jewish people, Hashem is making a point. And the point is that the Torah is also a partnership between the divine laws that I am presenting in the Torah, that you can't change any of its letters because it's exact and coded in a perfect way. And then together with that, the partnership with the interpreters of the Torah, the Chachamim, who with the divine spirit and with the divine laws are interpreting the Torah. And again, it's not only that the information and the knowledge is given to the Chachamim. The message is way deeper and greater than that. That the Chachamim have a say on reality. And they affect reality. And that's why the Yevanim, the Greeks, were fiercely fighting against the mitzvah of Rosh Chodesh. They were prosecuting Yidden who were sanctifying the Chodesh, the Kiddush HaChodesh, because they knew that once they have governing over time, it's governing reality. And this is also the reason why the Malachim, the angels resisted Matan Torah on earth. Now Shamayim, give you glory on the Shamayim. What, they became so jealous? What happened to them? They can get a copy? No. When they realize that the Chachamim will have the Balabatishkeit over time, they realize that their Metzius will be run by the Chachamim, by human beings. And they resisted it. Rabbi Ashkenazi told the story about the famous Chassid, Rabbi Rivlin. Maybe you know more about him, Friedel, or maybe Michla, you heard. The president of Israel Rivlin is from the same family. It's a big family. Some of them were Hasidim, some not. But there was a Chassid of Rivlin from the Tzemach Tzedek who got very sick in his lungs. And the doctor said that he has only a few months to live. And Hashem Yishmor. So he asked the Tzemach Tzedek what to do. And the Tzemach Tzedek suggested, move to Eretz HaKodesh, move to Israel. Maybe Tzfat, I'm not sure details. I think he said it, and he did, of course. He was a Chassid, didn't ask questions, and left, and went to Tzfat. I think it's Tzfat. And he lived many more than few months. He lived years after. And in one time, he came to visit the Tzemach Tzedek back to Europe. He came to visit Tzemach Tzedek back to Russia. And he asked the Tzemach Tzedek, Rebbe, why you suggested that I should go to... First he thought maybe because it's good air, because it's fast, it's good. Why you guided me? Why did you suggest that I should go to Eretz HaKodesh? And Taka, it worked. I feel much better. And the Rebbe said, the Tzemach Tzedek said, because the nature of the illness that you have in your lungs is a discussion between the Beit Yosef and the Ramah regarding a certain sickness of a behemoth in the lungs, that is puncture with infection, whatever, I'm not maybe in that of the lungs, that there is a debate whether this kind of illness renders the behemoth trefa, that means that he cannot live more than 12 months, and therefore it's considered not kosher, or a behemoth can live more than 12 months, and then it's considered kosher and can be shecht and eaten. So the Ramah holds that it's trefa, that a behemoth that has such an illness cannot live more than 12 months, and usually it's less than 12 months, therefore it's considered trefa and cannot be eaten. And the Beit Yosef said no, he disagrees, and he holds that a behemoth that has such an illness can live more than 12 months, and therefore it's kosher, it's not trefa, and it can be eaten. Can be slaughtered and kosher, of course, and eaten. So the Tzemach Tzedek says, because you have the same kind of a nature of a problem in your lungs, when it comes to living in Chutz La'aretz, the Ramah and the way he paskens, that's how the reality in Chutz La'aretz is. That a person of your illness will not survive more than a few months. But in Eretz Yisrael, the psak is according to the Beit Yosef. And if the Beit Yosef paskens that a behemoth that has, a being that has this illness can live more than 12 months, it means that he can live and it's not trefa, and therefore it's kosher. And therefore I suggested that you should go to Eretz Yisrael, where the reality is according to the psak of the Beit Yosef, and there, Baruch Hashem, your life was extended. So what do we see from that? That the Rabbanim are having an impact with their psak on reality. So right away, on the onset of all the 613 mitzvahs, the Torah teaches us that we have a partnership between Torah shebichsav and Torah sheba'al peh, between the giver of the Torah and the Chachamim, the Adam. And this is also what the Kuzari says to the Karaim. The Karaim were those Jews that believed only in Torah shebichsav. And he told them, if you tell me that you can know from this pasuk of HaChodesh Hazeh Lachem Rosh Chodashim, from this pasuk you can know just from that pasuk alone, without Torah sheba'al peh, what month, when is that month, and how long is that month, and how many days in the month, and how many months in the year, then I will accept your shita. But this is not the case. So right from the beginning, Hashem is telling us, we have a package deal, Torah shebichsav with Torah sheba'al peh, and it's a partnership between God, the giver of the Torah, and human beings who have the authority and the power to affect the world when they are aligned properly with the Torah and use its power properly. So let's look at the meaning of these two calendars that we are operating on, the yearly calendar and the monthly calendar. The yearly calendar is the calendar of the sun. Sun is creating Shana. Shana means something that Shoneh repeats itself. That means it's how the divine power is manifested through Teva. The consistency, the Hatmada, you really looking at Teva, at nature, will actually bring you to the conclusion that nature is supernatural. Why? Because it is the nature of any limited things, any finite thing, and anything that depends on other things in its existence. Two things that's a chok, it's a chok of Teva. Two things will happen to a finite being like this. Number one, it will be mishtabesh, which means something will go wrong. Something will become dysfunctional, between the parts, or, something there will not be a perfect functionality. And number two, overall, there will be a weakening of the system. Any being that is finite will weaken and weaken until it dies. Like the Gemara says, that from the day a baby is born, is beginning to dry out until the day of leaving the world. But when you see the celestial bodies, 5,784 years, almost, that all the celestial bodies are working in a perfect way. Not one time there was an accident between the sun, the moon, the planets. Not only that, they are as strong as the day they were created, which is not a natural phenomenon. Because in nature of finite world, any being will become weaker and weaker with time. And this is not the case regarding the celestial bodies. So what do you see here? You see the eternity of God and the perfection of godliness through Teva, in Teva, to the extent that Teva is so predicted and is so perfectly repetitious that you can calculate the next, eclipse, to the day and the minute. Says the Kuzari, this is the first divine expression, the hasmada, the nitzchius, the constancy in Teva. Poel emes u'pu'ulaso emes. That the pe'ula of HaKadosh Baruch Hu in Teva is a pe'ula of emes. So Teva represents seder, order, hasmada, consistency. The fact that there are no miracles in Teva, that's the biggest miracle. The Teva doesn't change. And you can rely on it 100%. There's no weakness, there's no dryness. And the second system, that's the system of the Shemesh. In Avodas Hashem, there's the part of Avodas Hashem that has to act like the sun, that rises in the morning and sets at the evening and never changes. Not like the moon that has, you don't know what mood you will fall on. The sun is always consistent. This is Midim Kesidram, davening 3 times a day in a minyan, putting on tefillin, eating kosher, keeping Shabbos, and fully so, and so on, and doing it daily, and keeping the chayus in daily davening, in daily tehillim, and keeping it alive. That's the avodah of the solar calendar, the seder. And then we have the lunar calendar, Rosh Chodesh Nissan, and all the Chodashim. This is the system of Nes, the Nisim throughout history, even in the war now. It shows the Isgalus of the divine power through breaking nature and going beyond nature. Says the Baal HaKedah, the Rebbe brings, that these are the 2 systems of Tishrei and Nisan. Tishrei is Rosh Hashanah of Seder and Asmada, that nothing should change. You should be hard and strong like a rock, disciplined, consistent. And Cheshbon HaNefesh for that. Did I do the maximum within my Teva? And then Nisan, that's already the Rosh Hashanah of all kinds of changes in nature. The Mayim changes to Dam, the Mayim stands up, the water splits. The Hischadshus, the innovation, the renewal, the change. A person, especially a Yid, cannot exist in a joyful way without renewal, without breaking through, without creating something new in his experience, without his chadshus says the Torah, there is no life. So we have to start anew all the time. And even though we have to be keseder, tmidim kesidram, but each time, when it's time to cheshbon hanefesh of the lunar cycle, we have to ask ourselves, myself, did I break through? Did I raise my avodas Hashem to completely higher realm? Did I go beyond my teva? How much did I do so? I have to live with two calendars, with two cycles. They are both very, very important. The Medrash Tanchuma brings that fish that are there in the water all the time, when it rains, they come up to the top to drink and get fresh water. Why are you running after water? You're in water all around. You never drink all of the water, so much there is. Why you have to have new water? Yeah, they want to have new, fresh. And that's the nature of the Jewish soul. It yearns to have something new and to create newness and to break through and to innovate and to discover a new reality and to elevate the consciousness to a new level. And therefore you see it in all the movements in the world, whether it is art or politics even, and science and music and so on and so forth. They are right there breaking through on the top of achievers. So we need to be miracle makers. A person has to ask himself, what miracle did I create today? And what keli did I make for this miracle by adding in avodas Hashem or by something in learning, whatever it is. And the Rebbe explains that this is why Chazal said that regarding the first slavery in Mitzrayim and the exodus of Mitzrayim, which is the anchor of Yiddishkeit, of our consciousness, Chazal say that B'Tishrei, the avodas perech stopped, the slavery labor stopped, and then B'Nissan, they left Egypt. So again, these two cycles. Tishrei, everything became Beseder, Keseder. Slavery stopped, now we have normal life, back to normal. But Nissan, they left Egypt altogether. And not only that they left Egypt, and the Torah tells us that he keep going, 42 Masaos. All these names, Divlasayim, Risma, who cares? And it's only one trip that left Mitzrayim, why 42? And the Rebbe said that the Torah tells us that Bnei Yisrael did not stop going out of Mitzrayim until they will reach the promised land. And so too now. We have to make sure that we keep going out of Mitzrayim until we get to the promised land. Those who learn Torah learn that the Eretz Tovah or Rechava is meaning the consciousness of Geula. So on the way to a Geula, we need to keep going out of Mitzrayim. And the Baal Shem Tov says that every person has 42 Masaos in their lifetime. From the moment they are born till they give the neshama back to Hashem. And there's a Maimar, very nice Maimar Chassidus, that explains the statement of Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. He's just about to pass away. He's devoted and devout, Talmidim are around him. And he says, En yodea be'ezu derech molichim oti. I don't know what way they will take me. Will I go to Gan Eden? Will I go the opposite? What? Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai? He saved the Jewish nation. Yavne v'chachamea. He restored Torah. Because of him, he was such a righteous man and a Gaon. And in addition to that, such a refined, righteous, Baal Midos person that the Chachamim say that nobody had a chance to Makdim Shalom. He was always saying good Shalom Aleichem first. Even to a non-Jew in the market. He had so much reverence and respect to every human being. And he was a giant. And he says, I don't know be'eze derech molichim oti. I don't know where I'm taken. Said, who was Gan Eden created for? If not for him. So Chassidus explains that exactly was his inner question. He was saying, yes, according to the cycle of the sun, the solar cycle, the Shana, Tishrei, I am more or less comfortable. I did the maximum I could. So I davened 3 times. I never missed a day of tefillin, Shabbos, Kashrus, Tarsamish, all the Hakol Keseder. However, what about the cycle of Nissan? Did I break through? Did I innovate? Did I break through my own nature in Avodas Hashem the way Hashem expected me? I don't know. And I don't know be'ezo derech molichim oti. I don't know if I balance between these 2 calendars properly in my Avodas Hashem. Few points that I wanted to share regarding Rosh Chodesh Nissan and the meditation that we can have based on that. And the Rebbe brings many times the Shalach HaKadosh, who says that HaChodesh hazeh lachem Rosh Chodashim hu, which means that every day of the month of Nisan has the quality of Rosh Chodesh, says the Shalach HaKadosh. Every day of the month of Nisan has the power of Rosh Chodesh. And the Rebbe brings many times that Mishebachar HaKadosh Baruch Hu be'olamo kava Rosh Chodashim, and when HaKadosh Baruch Hu chose Yaakov ubanav, he set aside the Chodesh of Geula, Chodesh Nisan. And the Rebbe says that the Chachamim say that the month of Nisan, the name Nisan has 2 noons. It doesn't mean just a regular nes. That would require 1 noon. But 2 noons means nisei nisim. A 1 noon represents a nes that has a erech, some kind of relation to Teva. But it's a breakthrough from Teva. It's higher than Teva. But in Nisei Nisim, the nature of Nisan is the energy of Nisan, that even beyachas to the Nisim of 1 noon, it's a nes. And so too the comparison between the niflaot, the miracles of Yetzias Mitzrayim, and the miracles of the Geula Asida. That the miracles of the Geula that we are so much waiting for, and it should be tonight, is no be'erech to the plaos, to the miracles and wonders we saw by Yetzias Mitzrayim. And the main thing is, the Rebbe says, when is the biggest aliyah? When is the biggest nes? You know, in Ashra, we don't have Nun. Ashra is based on the Aleph base. We don't have Nun. We have, from skips the Nun, goes Somech Noflim. Why? Because Nun represents what? Nefila. Nofel, linpol, to fall. So the Rebbe says, what's the biggest nes that you can call Nisei Nisim? When you turn the fall into a nes. And that's the power of Nisan. It is so transformational that we can take any fall and turn it into a nes, up high. And this is especially associated with Yaakov Ubanav. Not just Yaakov, Ubanav, us, his descendants. So we need to ask ourselves, how am I doing when I do the Cheshbon HaNefesh, whether before I'm going to sleep or at the end of the year or when Nisan comes? How am I doing with Nisan cycle, with the Nisei Nisim, and to know that we have the power to transform reality in a miraculous way. And especially in our times when the Rebbe says that now we really have the requirement to live miraculously, because these are Yemos HaMashiach. So we have to recognize the miracle within us, the ability to break nature, to transcend nature, and to be a leader in that sense, in a very powerful way that can help when we interact with others to turn any nefilah, any nun to a nes, any nefilah, any fall to a miracle. I just want to bring to conclude few words tomorrow in Hashem morning in Samach Vav we'll learn the Sikha. It's from Achron Shel Pesach. It's already many years, unfortunately. Tafshin Lamed, which is 54 years ago. The Rebbe spoke about the fact that the Zohar brings that on the 600 of the 6 millennia that the gates of Chokhmah above will be open and the well springs of Chokhmah below will be opened. So the gates of wisdoms will be opened up. And so too the gates of Chokhmah Satorah. And the Rebbe describes a process of the Gilui of Chokhmah Satorah that was correlating to the condition of Sukkos David Anofeles, talking about Nefilah, of the condition of Yidden in Galus, that is getting darker and darker and darker before Mashiach comes. And as that process was happening, more and more for Pnimis HaTorah was brought down and available into Seichel. And the epitome of that was the Rebbe Rashab, who is called the Rambam of Hasidus. That he, the Rebbe says, and more than all the other Maimarim, the Rebbe Rashab himself praised especially Hemshech Samach Vav that we learn every Wednesday morning at 11, and you are welcome to join. A special praise of the Maimarim of Samach Vav, that there is a very strong correlation between how the Hemshech Samach Vav brings the in a very methodical and a very clear, logical way to the average mind, if I may say so. All principles of Hasidus, the highest concepts, and that, the Rebbe said, is a crucial stage of the last acts that are being taken spiritually in order to bring Mashiach. And the Rebbe Rashab is a big step ahead, and the leader of the last stage of bringing Mashiach, through his Maimarim that were set up in such a way that he was called the Rambam of Chassidus, so methodically arranged and explained the deepest concept of Chassidus. And we are very lucky that we are zoiche to learn this Torah, and the Rebbe encourages that part of Yemoisa Mashiach is that women also will learn and will learn inside, and Baruch Hashem we are doing it, and I'm wishing each and every one a year of Chidush. We should be, the biggest Chidush is the Chidush where the person himself goes through a transformation and becomes new. And we should become Baalei Tshuva. We should do Tshuva mitoch simcha and become new people who can break through and bring the world into a new reality of Geula Amitis Vashleima. And it should be taken miyad mamash, led by the Rebbe Melech HaMashiach,